What's up, y'all? So, this is a training that I put together recently for some team members, and I wanted to share it on here. And um, this is essentially my take on the 21 Laws of Leadership and by John C. Maxwell. And so we'll go ahead and jump in. I think that this training will be super valuable to you if you find yourself watching this. So, yeah, sit back, take some notes, enjoy. These are life changing principles which have had a profound impact on my personal leadership ability and how I've been able to navigate difficult situations, obstacles, things that arise and come up in business and life. So let's go ahead and jump in with the 21 Laws of Leadership. And this is part one training. So this is part one of a two-part training. And so we shall jump in. So, what exactly are we going to be talking about today? Well, we're going to talk about being in the right place at the right time. We're going to talk about why you should develop leadership, why it's important. I'm going to talk about um, the law of the lid, the law of influence, the law of process, the law of navigation, the law of solid ground, the law of respect, the law of intuition, the law of magnetism, the law of the big mo, the law of explosive growth, the law of reproduction, and the law of legacy. Those will be part of the part one training. So, in terms of being in the right place at the right time, success often finds those who are not just in the right place at the right time, but those who recognize the moment's potential and act upon it with purposeful determination. So, as far as every single person out there and every single person that's watching this training, I believe that you're in the right place and the right time, just on the matter of the fact that you're alive today at this point of time in history. You see, it's the greatest time in the history of time to ever be alive. It's never been easier to be successful. There are so many resources at our disposal. The abundance of information, the access to information, it's never been this free before. The information has never been as accessible as it is right now. And so I firmly believe that whatever you're doing, wherever you're at in life, whatever opportunity you're pursuing, whatever business that is, whatever is going on in your personal life, you are in the right place at the right time. And by recognizing that and by recognizing the power of today and what you can do and moving forward with that purposeful determination is going to have a massive effect on your future, and it's going to create waves, kind of like you see here, some waves. All right, so why should we develop leadership though? Like, why is it important? Well, I think it's pretty much common sense from my perspective, but leadership is going to help you achieve the things that you want to get to in life. So whatever those goals are for you, and here's just some random pictures I pulled. Right, you got a nice house, you got a family, a new baby, hanging out on the beach, hanging out with friends, family, nice car, traveling. So a lot of these things are really important to people, and leadership is going to help you achieve your goals. So whatever your goals are in life, whatever you're after, it's important to recognize what exactly that is that you're after. Number one, set goals, have goals. I'll do lots more trainings on actual goal setting and how to set them, how to break them down, how to move forward and basically chunk them down so that they become achievable. But if you have big goals in life and you want to live a good life, well, you need to become a leader. It's just kind of like goes hand in hand. And so that's why it's important to develop leadership. You're going to be able to get everything that you want out of life, but you're also going to have a profound impact on other people, and you're going to help other people get what they want in life. And many times in life, just the act of helping other people get what they want, you're going to turn around and say, wow, I've got everything that I want, and I'm hitting all of my goals just by helping other people hit their goals. So leadership is paramount to success, to hitting your goals, to having a life well lived. Okay, we all have one life that we know of for certain. Okay, we have a lot of different takes on what happens after this life. Many of us believe that life continues and carries on in different types of ways, myself included. But we do know that we have at least one life right here, right now. And so the best thing you can do today is take advantage of it and maximize that life. And so that way, if this timeline right here is your life, right, front to back, by the time you get to the end of your life, you don't want to look backwards and say, man, I did not do this thing the way I should have, and I'm now basically in my last days and I'm full of regret and not going after it, not learning new things, not, getting new skills, not pushing myself out of my comfort zone, not going after it, and not making this life my dream life and not achieving the things that I want to achieve. So, those are all great reasons on why to develop leadership. Now, into the first law here. The first law is the law of the lid. Basically, what this leadership law says is that the lid of your leadership will never allow your business to get higher. The lid of your leadership will never allow your business to get higher. So you need to increase your lid, increase your leadership lid, which means you need to become a better leader. Okay, so in the law of the lid, it says that leadership determines business growth. So your leadership is going to control and determine the size of your business. So that should make sense, right? If you're a 7 out of 10 on the leadership scale, your business will only ever hit a 7 out of 10 type business because you need to increase the level of your leadership. You need to improve leadership to grow business. So focusing on improving leadership skills to increase the growth potential of the business. You need to take responsibility. As a leader, you take responsibility for your people and for your organization. You take extreme responsibility, extreme accountability, and you learn to lead. You can learn to lead. Okay, this is a learnable skill set. So you can constantly improve your lid. So if you're a 4 out of 10 today, that's okay if you put action and effort into learning and getting better, since it is a learnable skill set. So meaning no one's born as a leader. We don't just pop out as a baby and start leading. We had to learn leadership. Okay? And everything rises and falls on leadership. It is an absolute fact that everything rises and falls on leadership, and you need to commit to being a 10 and raising the lid in your organization. The more that you raise the lid, the more that your organization is going to grow. So improving leadership is key to growing a successful business. So what are some questions that you can ask yourself in terms of doing a self-diagnosis and figuring out where you stand in terms of this law? So you can ask yourself, what is the lid number on my leadership? Ask yourself, be honest. What is the lid number on my leadership? Would my team think the same number? Ask them. Ask your team. Hey, I think that I'm an 8 out of 10 leader. Would you guys agree with that? What is my plan to increase my leadership lid number? Am I doing personal development? Am I consistently training? What new skills am I learning? Am I attending masterships? Am I getting around mentors? Am I getting around people that have done what I'm trying to do and are further down the road and per se in life? Are they're on chapter 27, I'm on chapter 5, right? What is your plan to increase your leadership lid number? Because you can always keep increasing it. What are the lid numbers of those that work with me? Okay, are all the leaders that work with you 2 out of 10s? Are they 1 out of 10s, 0 out of 10s? You may realize in this audit that, man, the people around me are not leaders and they don't care about leadership. It's no wonder that my organization is suffering, or there's no surprise that I'm not elevating in life because the people around me, just even in my close circle, are not leaders. They're not pushing themselves. They're not learning. They're not setting by example. They're not disciplined. So what is my plan to increase their lid numbers? How can I help my team? What trainings can I do for my team? I want to teach them leadership, okay? Because again, it is a totally learnable skill set. So these are things that you can do to assess and diagnose where you're at on the law of the lid and how you can continue to increase that leadership lid so that your organization and your business and your life can continue to grow and flourish more and more and more. Moving on. The next law I have here is the law of influence. This law states that the true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. You see, leadership is not a title or a position, it is influence. So the person who has the most amount of influence in any group is the leader. This will change from time to time based on who is best in each law at any given time for what is required at that moment. And I'll give you an example. If you are in a group of people and one of the people is like a rock star, we'll say salesperson, let's say they've generated millions of dollars in personal commissions in sales, they have experience doing door-to-door sales for a decade, they've done phone sales for a decade, they've led huge teams in sales for decades, they've grown huge sales organizations, they've done hundreds of millions of dollars in organizational sales volumes, or if not billion plus. If we're talking sales in that group, and what the focus and the emphasis on is sales, who's everybody going to look to for leadership in that situation? Who holds the most influence in that situation, right? It's the person who is the sales expert. I'll give you another example. Let's say you're in a group of people and there's a medical emergency. Car crashes right in front of you. It's on fire. People are, getting pulled out, clearly injured, broken bones, all sorts of stuff. You have a doctor in your group of people. Who does everyone look to as the leader on what to do in this scenario? The freaking doctor. Because the doctor has gone to school for 12 years and then he's worked his residency. He's been in hospital for decades. He's done all different types of surgeries, saved hundreds of lives. The guy knows what to do. He's the leader in that situation. But great leaders are also great followers because leaders recognize these types of situations. Someone that's not the doctor wouldn't try and that is also a great leader. For example, let's say the salesperson and the doctor were all in the same group and there's a medical emergency. I don't think that the sales leader would say, hey, no, everyone should listen to me because I'm actually the leader, and try to pull away from the doctor. No, the salesperson will fall in line and listen to and follow the doctor, because the doctor is the leader and holds influence in that situation. So just because you're a great leader does not mean that you are never a follower. Great leaders are also great followers because they recognize the leader in certain situations. And it's important to understand that you will not be great in all 21 laws, but you will be great at many, and again, it's always improvable. But it's important to have a complementing leadership team around you, since you're not an expert or you're not the best in all 21 areas. Okay, you may be really good at 14 areas, but your leadership team, they complement you in other areas on maybe the other 7 laws that you're not too great at. But you can always get better across the board. And there's 5 levels of leadership when it comes to influence, okay? So number 1 is positional leadership. This is the lowest level of leadership. So basically you get a title where you get a position and certain rights come with that position. For example, in a job, okay, you have a boss, you have a manager. That person, just because their title, you have to report to them and you have to follow them. But in a lot of cases, that person isn't a leader at all. and you are strictly following them because their leadership is positional. There's a chain of command, and you are supposed to do what they tell you to do. And outside of that, if there wasn't that relationship and if there wasn't that position or title, you probably wouldn't do what they tell you to do if they're not, in fact, a real leader. Now, they can absolutely have a title and be a leader, but just because they have the title does not make them a leader. Then you have permission based leadership, which is relational. Okay, this means people follow you because they want to. They don't have to. They follow you strictly because they want to. And then you have production, which is results based. And that's people following you because of what you've done for the organization. There are actual, real, tangible results, and people follow the results. And then you have people development, which is reproduction based. And that's people following you because what you have done for them as a person. So if you help people, they'll naturally want to follow you because you're developing people. And then you have personhood, which is respect, where you've just done it for so long and achieved so much, they have full respect and follow you automatically. Um, you can see this a lot of times in famous athletes, celebrities, people that have just been, knocking out an amazing career for 10, 20, 30 years, and they've just done so much and won at such high levels for so long, and they just have massive, droves of people that just follow them, respect them, would do anything for them, and that's based off the respect. Okay, moving forward, we'll move into the law of process. What this law states is that leadership develops daily, but not in a day. Okay? It's a long-term process. Process. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. So, ask yourself, are leaders naturally born? Talked about this very briefly already. Leaders are not born, they are developed. Okay, again, no one pops out and just says, hey, I'm leading the way. You do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. No. You have to become a leader, which means you have to be developed as one, and you have to learn to be one. You also have the compound effect. And this is talking about consistency. Remember consistency. Okay? So it builds on itself over years and years and years and years and years. When you first start stepping into a leadership role or a leadership position in your family, in your life, in a club, in a group, in a sports team, in a business, in a company, wherever you're stepping into leadership, okay, you're putting in effort, but as you do things consistently over time and over a longer time horizon, that's going to compound. Your skill set as a leader is going to compound. I remember, going back 12 years now, when I first got exposed to what I would consider sort of true leadership. Well, actually, I misspoke there. Earlier than that, I saw great examples of leadership by sports coaches because I was a three-sport athlete as a kid. I played basketball, football, and lacrosse. And there are great examples of leadership in sports teams and coaches. But from a business standpoint, and for me stepping into a leadership position, the first time I started to step into leadership was at 19 years old when I first started getting into network marketing and affiliate marketing, and I was being presented with new information and new things that I was learning. I started to read. The first two things that I was given was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And these things started a snowball effect for me into my own leadership, and that's where I started to dive headfirst in. But I wasn't any good. I mean, I was not good at leading, but I was trying and I was learning and I was getting better. And, I remember too, when I would do my very first presentations, I was shaking like a leaf. Okay. And then years later, I would get up in front of 1,000 people in an arena and speak and have an amazing presentation, knock it out of the park. And that's just an example of just over a short amount of time, even what I would consider short. Most people might consider it long, but you kind of get the beginning of the exponential curve from a compounding perspective at 3 to 5 years. And then when you keep going, that's where they say, 10 years to become an overnight success and beyond. If you channel your focus, if you channel your energy, if you channel your effort on learning and growing and taking action and every single day failing forward, the way that you're able to compress time frames through the compound effect is just incredible. And so, same thing with leadership, okay? You have to develop it over time. You're not just going to jump in and be like, man, I'm a great leader. Like, you have to practice leadership for years and years and years and years, but you will get good. And then you have the event versus the process. Okay, so you have the event versus the process. There's a difference between the event and the process. So, like, a lot of times we go to events, we get super jazzed up, like super fired up, and like in the moment we feel the energy. We feel like, yes, I'm going to do this. But then we get into the boring, into the mundane, into the monotonous, and into the tediousness of the actual activity and actually doing it, and then just the slow grind of just daily taking action and not seeing progress and not seeing forward movement, because in the day to day things always feel like they're moving extremely slow. They don't feel like they're almost even moving at all. But you got to remember that you are making progress, and slow progress is progress, but that progress actually compounds, because when you look backwards, that's where you're able to see it. When you actually stay consistent. So, like, day to day, you start doing activity, whatever that activity is, towards building, leadership or a skill set or a business or whatever you're working on, and you do that consistently every single day, it doesn't really feel like you're making much progress. But then you look backwards 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, 48 months, 60 months, and then you're like, wow, I actually did come insanely far. So that's the difference of the event versus the process. Also including like the compound effect, and then the fact that no one's naturally born as a leader. It's something that you develop out over the long haul. So keep that in mind. It develops daily, not in a day. So again, talking about the event versus the process, we totally overestimate the event because we're jazzed up, like we're on that high energy. Like, if you've ever been to like a Tony Robbins event, you're like so fired up and like you're just in the zone, ready, and like you're gonna do this. But then like that fades. Like, what happens a week after, 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after, 4 weeks after, when you no longer have that high that you're riding, that emotional high and the energy that's flowing through the crowd? It's electric. You feel it. You don't have that anymore, and you underestimate the process, because then you get into the process and you're like, man, this sucks. This is a lot of work, and it's hard. But the event is what motivates you, okay, and it gets you into action. But the process is what matures you. The process is what disciplines you. The process is what keeps you patient. And the process is what makes you. And every time you try to rush the process, you're going to go back to square one. You can't rush it. It's going to mature you. Whereas events encourage decisions, but the process, it encourages development. It encourages growth. It encourages compounding. The event is easy. The process is difficult. As with everything in life, the path you choose is difficult. Life is difficult. Your expectation on life should not be that life is not difficult. Each path you decide to choose is difficult, but you should choose the path less traveled, which is the path of success. It's the path of desire. It's the path of wanting the best for yourself. It's the path of discipline. It's the path of being judged. It's the path of being misunderstood. It's the path of being hated on. It's the path that so many are afraid to go on. But it's the right one to live the life that you want, your dream life, instead of just going the same direction that everybody else goes. You take the same path, you follow the same plan. It's like the default plan on life. You're like, yeah, I'll just take default. Default plan, I'll live an average life. Guess what? The average life is difficult. Guess what? There's not security in the average life. You hear these stories of people working for these companies for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and now when they no longer need you, they just kick you to the curb. You're done. And you didn't spend any time developing yourself. You didn't spend any other time developing other skill sets. You didn't spend any other time going after other opportunities, making mistakes, learning, having failures. You did it wrong. So recognize that no matter which path you choose in life, it is difficult, but you should be choosing the one that leads you to the mountaintop, that leads you to doing whatever you want, whenever you want, without some overlord controlling your every move and telling you when you can, eat, when you can go to the bathroom, when you can get up, what you can do. I'm talking about freedom. And actually, I'm filming this video right now on July 4th, 2024, Independence Day. Independence Day. It's a day of celebrating freedom. It's a day of celebrating independence. This is how you become independent. You become a leader. Stop making your bullshit excuses. Look yourself in the goddamn mirror and make the motherfucking decision to do what the fuck you gotta do to win. It is difficult. It is hard. It is scary. You need courage. There is fear, which you have to overcome, which is false evidence appearing real. So it's hard, guys. It is hard. It ain't easy, but so is the alternative. So you might as well pick the one that gets you to a much better destination. Okay? Continuing on, the event is a calendar issue, but the process is a culture issue. The process is a culture issue. What is your personal culture? Because how you do anything is how you do everything. So what's your personal culture? What's your personal core values? What is your personal mission statement on your life? What is your vision statement on your life? Treat your life like a business, ladies and gentlemen. Take it serious. Don't treat it like a hobby. Treat it like a professional. You want to live a professional life? Be a motherfucking professional. Take your goddamn culture serious. Okay? And it is not one day, one time, one book, one lecture that's going to change your life. It's the process, guys. It is the process. I'm 12 years into this shit, and I've had the ups and the downs. I've had the wins, the losses, the haters, you name it. But I continue to get up and show up every single day, and I continue to learn. I continue to read. I continue to train. I continue to hustle. I continue to get better. I continue to learn from my mistakes, because success, it is not a destination. It is a journey. Every single part of that is broken down into the process. Every single day. The process, it continues, and that's where it develops, guys. That's how you become a 10 on that leadership scale. That's how you improve yourself. That's how you live a life worth living. That's how you take accountability for your own goddamn life. Don't make yourself into a victim, because life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. Life happens for you. You're not a victim of your circumstances. You are a warrior of your circumstances. You're a warrior of your life. You are not a victim of your life. You are a warrior of your life, because everything that you've overcome, you've survived. If you're watching this video and you're a human, you are alive and you are here, which means you've survived and you have beaten every obstacle, every challenge, every hardship that has tried to slow you down get in front of you and throw you off track, but you're still here and you're still breathing and you're still living and you're still showing up. So get serious and buckle in, baby, because it's a long ride, but it's fun. You fall in love with the growth. You fall in love with the process. That's what you need to love. When you love the process, it's game on. It is game on. You are going to crush your goals out of the park. Let's keep it moving. I'm getting fired up, baby. All right. The secret of our success is hidden in our daily agenda. Do you guys even have a calendar? Do you even plan out your time? Do you even block off your time? Did you know that time is the most valuable asset that you have and that you own? And I can prove it to you right now. Okay? Someone walks up to you and they offer you $10 million. You blow your mind. You're like, it's a Mr. Beast type person. They're just like, dude, I'm going to give you $10 million. All you got to do is sign right here. You're like, hell yes. But what's the catch? Well, the catch is that you only get to live for 30 days. So you get $10 million, but you get to live for 30 days. Who's taking that deal? None of us. None of us. So that means that your time is more valuable than $10 million, $100 million, $1 billion. What if someone offered you $1 billion, but they said you got a week to enjoy it because then after that you're going to die? You got 7 days to be a billionaire. You ain't taking that deal unless you actually only have 7 days left to live, because otherwise it's a bad deal. Which means you are rich. You are wealthy. You are wealthy in your time. And guess what? Everybody has the same amount of time, but how do you leverage that time? And how do you gain time? How do you buy time? How do you earn more time? It's through leverage. Leverage. But the secret of our success is hidden in our daily agenda. Do you just wake up and just do whatever you feel like doing? Or is there a plan? Is there a plan for your life? Is there a plan for your day? Is there a plan for your agenda? Because my time is planned out every single day, weeks in advance. I have all my meetings, all my schedule, all my maker time and my manager time. Everything's scheduled out, and I run at the most efficient that I can, and I'm always pushing myself to be more efficient because I know that I can get better. I know that I can improve. But the secret of our success is hidden in our daily agenda. So do an audit on your time and do an audit on your schedule. Check it out. Let's keep it moving. Alrighty. We got the law of navigation. The law of navigation. What this states is that anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Because, friends, it is not the blowing of the wind, but the set of the sail that determines our destination, and the same wind blows on us all. Thank you, Mr. Jim Rohn, one of the greatest. If you guys have never listened to Jim Rohn, you're missing out. You need to. But anyways, moving forward, the law of navigation. So this states that anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. This is the technical form of leadership. Technical. Okay? Because a leader is one who sees more than others see. The big picture. Okay? We're charting the course. What's the destination? What's the vision? Where are we going? The leader is one who sees farther than others see. So they see more than others see. They see farther than others see. They have the big vision. A leader is one who sees before others see. So you can sense things quicker, sense the opportunity, sense the timing. So you have to be the visionary for your team, and you have to get others to the top of the mountain with you, with the law of navigation. So you want to be the navigator for your team. So what I like to use and what John C. Maxwell likes to use is the acronym of plan ahead. P, predetermine your course of action. Predetermine what is the course of action. L, lay out your goals. Lay them out. 3, adjust your priorities. Adjust your priorities so that you can get into action on the plan. Make sure that this is a priority. And then N, notify key personnel. Let the people around you know what the heck's going on and what the plan is. Otherwise, they're going to have no clue what the hell you're doing. This is significant others, spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, parents, brothers, sisters, kids, cousins, whoever is around you. Notify the key personnel. Hey, I'm locked in on my plan, so I'm just letting you know, if you bring me distractions for the next 180 days or 90 days of this sprint, I ain't doing nothing. I'm going nowhere. I'm not going out partying. I'm not drinking. I'm not doing anything outside of my plan. I am locked in and I'm focused because I'm going to succeed on the execution of my plan. A, allow time for acceptance. Okay? Let the team, let the personnel, let the people, your leadership team, let them accept what the plan is. All right? Then we move forward. H, we're going to head into action. We're going to take action. We're heading straight on into action, baby. We're getting it going. And E, expect problems. Expect the waves. Expect chop. Expect squalls. You're going to get thrown off course. Expect the problems, okay? Because any time in life when you have an expectation and that expectation is not met, that leads to frustration. What's more frustrating than expecting that everything's going to be perfect and easy, and then you're just constantly confronted with problems? Well, welcome to life and welcome to business, okay? But what's a lot easier than that? Well, if you already expect the problems, if you already expect obstacles, you're not going to be surprised or thrown off when they come up, which they already are going to do every single time. There's no such thing as doing anything without problems, obstacles, roadblocks, shit changing, detours. Stuff comes up and it gets thrown in your way. And then always point to your successes. Why? Because there's always going to be a group of people that want to point to your failures. But we want to point to our successes because we want to inspire. We want to aspire to inspire, have the desire to inspire, and it's going to help lift the morale, lift the team. It's going to help people feel like, man, I can do that too. I resonate or I relate to you. You had XYZ challenge. You overcame. I have XYZ challenge. You're like me and you did it. I can overcome. Okay? So point to your successes and help people out that way. And then have a daily review of your progress. Daily review of your progress. Before you go to sleep at night, have a daily review of your progress. I like to keep to-do lists. Everything's off a to-do list for me. I have literally tasks all day, every day in my sections that I'm working on them. I have tasks. I focus on the most important tasks, and I cross them off, and I move forward, and I have traction. So have a daily review of your progress and where you're at, and what are the tasks that you need to be doing. That's how we plan ahead and navigate for the team. Now, the next law, guys, this is the law of solid ground. And this states that trust is the foundation of leadership. Trust is the foundation of leadership. Okay? It's the glue that holds an organization and a leader together. So that means you have to demonstrate consistent character as well as consistent competence. And that equals trust. If you have consistent character, if you display consistent character, but you have consistent incompetence, okay, people are not going to follow you. They're not going to trust you that you know what the hell you're doing. Or if you're extremely competent, but you have no character whatsoever, no integrity, people are also not going to follow you. So you need both in order to build trust and then have the foundation. Okay, trust is the foundation of leadership. You need both. Again, it's not one or the other. And in terms of ethics integrity, etc. There's no such thing, guys, as business ethics. It is just ethics. You either have it or you don't. So be ethical, guys. Do the right thing. Have integrity. And building trust is like having change in your pocket. Imagine you got a bunch of loose change jiggling around in your pocket, right? Bunch of quarters, nickels, dimes, whatever, And every time you do something untrustworthy, you're giving up a little bit of that change until you have none left. Or if you are being trustworthy, you're gaining a little bit of change every time you demonstrate integrity and strong character. So you're either depositing or withdrawing in the law of solid ground. And what happens when you run out of change, right? What happens when a leader continually breaks trust and you try to continue to influence people? Well, with integrity, the longer you lead, the better it gets. You keep getting more and more change. So you have a solid ground. People trust in your character. They trust in your competence. Well, what if you're losing change? You reach in your pocket, there's no change left. They don't believe you anymore. You have no solid ground, and you've continually broken people's trust. So now you have no foundation, you have no leadership, you have no solid ground. So you must have character and competence, both, not one or the other. The law of respect. This law states that people naturally follow leaders that are stronger than themselves. Law of respect. So the more leadership ability a person has, the more quickly he or she recognizes leadership or its lack in others. I'm able to very quickly pick up if someone's a leader or if they're not. Okay? And leaders are only going to respect other leaders. And you're only going to attract the respect of leaders at the same level as you or lower. So if you are a 8 out of 10 leader, that means that leaders that are 8 out of 10 or lower will respect you. Leaders that are above you, they won't. But how do I find leaders? Because you can't attract leaders unless you are one yourself, right? So people are not going to come into your organization. They're not going to join your mission. They're not going to join your vision if you're not attracting them. This goes back to the law of the lid. It's very closely related. By raising your leadership lid and by raising your leadership level, you are going to engage with more and better leaders that are going to have a high level of respect for you. And you're also going to attract leaders. Like if you go up to a 10, you're attracting 9s, you're attracting 8s, you're attracting other 10s, you're attracting 7s. But if you're a 5, you're only attracting 4s, 3s, 2s, 1s. You don't want that, okay? People don't follow people by accident. People do not follow people who are not good leaders. Remember, you attract who you are, not who you want. You attract who you are, not who you want, which means it starts with you. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. Okay, that means when people respect you as a person, they admire you. When people respect you as a friend, they love you. But when people respect you as a leader, they follow you. And respect is not given, it is earned. You cannot get respect without earning it. So, how do we earn respect? If that's the only way to get it, what does that even mean? Well, pretty simple. It's common sense, guys. It's not crazy. Number 1, respect other people. Wow, if I want to be respected, I should respect other people? Wow, that makes a whole lot of sense. Think about the golden rule. Do unto others as you wish to be done to you, or however the whole thing goes. You know what I mean. Okay, be respectful of other people, give respect. Remember the golden rule. Okay, have courage. People will respect you when you make a courageous decision. This is a decision that you make that is right. Not because it will benefit you, but it's a decision that will benefit your people. Success. People want to follow successful people. So naturally, If you become more successful, if you go out and hit goals, people will respect you. People will follow you. Consistency. The ability to keep on keeping on. Keep consistent and don't waver in your action. You set the example. So the more consistent you are, the more people respect you and they see that, the more they will follow you and the more your leadership increases. Add value to others. Take them to a level they would not go to on their own. Help them increase their skills. Be there for them. Spend time working with people and helping them. Adding value to others gains respect. And then leadership ability. Your ability to lead people effectively, your ability to practice the laws of leadership, your ability to enhance your skills, self-develop, put in the time. 10,000 hours minimum. That's to get to competent, like professional, expert. Keep going. 10,000 hours. Put in the time. Become a leader. You will earn respect. And here is the test of respect. So you can use these two simple tests in order to test and improve your respect. Number one is commitment. So this is the response of the people when the leader asks for commitment. Is there that automatic buy-in? Okay, and then change. The response of the people when the leader asks for them to change. So commitment and change. Those are the two biggest tests of respect. If you are respected, they will commit, they will buy in, they will change. That is the test of respect. Moving forward, we have the law of intuition, which states that leaders evaluate everything with a leadership bias. This is the law of intuition. Leaders evaluate everything with a leadership bias. That means you evaluate everything through a leadership lens based on your experiences. You have a bias. You have an innate ability. Some leaders have an intuitive advantage, but it can be learned. If this is any of the laws that has more natural leanings of like people are more naturally gifted in an area, this would probably be the one. Granted, this can still be learned, but some people have an innate ability for intuitiveness, okay? And that's also including situational awareness, which allows leaders to sense things quickly, see opportunities, and it ultimately does give, by far, an excellent strategic advantage. So it gives leaders a head start in decision making. So remember, the law of intuition provides leaders with an instinctive feel for situations that aids effective decision making with the law of intuition. So leaders are ultimately readers, okay? Leaders read people. That's their team members, their colleagues, bosses, clients. They observe body language, listen carefully, sense emotions. They read books. Leaders read books and articles to expand their knowledge and perspectives. Leaders read situations, analyzing all factors to make informed decisions. Leaders also read opportunities. Leaders identify and seize opportunities at the right time by reading markets, trends, and timing. They read environments, okay, which are organizational cultures and team dynamics, as well as timing. So leaders have a sense of timing, knowing when to act and when to wait. They're able to read motives, understanding what motivates people and read motives behind actions. They're able to read the future. Leaders have vision to see where things are heading and read future trends. They're able to read people placement. Leaders know where to place people, reading strengths, weaknesses, and team fit. And then leaders are able to read process. So leaders understand processes end to end and how to optimize them. Leaders are readers. That's intuition. Okay? Moving forward, we have the law of magnetism. The law of magnetism states that who you are is ultimately who you attract. Magnetism. Magnetic, right? Who you are is who you attract. So you tend to attract people who share your core characteristics, your desired qualities, leadership abilities, integrity, attitude. Possess desired qualities. You must possess the qualities you want to attract in others. So if these are the desired qualities, you need to possess the desired qualities. You must possess those qualities that you want to attract in others. Like attracts like. You must model the qualities you want your team to have, because you're going to attract that. So if you want your team to do all these certain things and be great, it starts with you. It starts with you. Okay? Key areas of attraction are going to be with your mission. So your mission attracts people who want to share in that mission and repels those who don't. Think Elon Musk here and his companies. Okay? This is actually a really good example, because the reason why Elon Musk is able to rally tens of thousands of people behind the missions of his companies, and why people will work tirelessly day in and day out for his businesses, is because the mission of all of his businesses all points back to saving the world. So if you have a small mission or a niche mission, you're only going to pull in the people that support that mission, and they're only going to work to the degree that they value that mission and that vision. But when it comes to saving the world, think about how many people can rally around that mission and actually saving the world. So when you look at his companies, for example, okay, you have SpaceX. SpaceX, okay, space exploration and developing rockets and all these things to colonize Mars and other planets. So when the Earth is no longer inhabitable, human beings and the human race will be able to colonize other planets and be able to continue our species and our existence through SpaceX and his business. So it will save the human race one day, okay? With SpaceX. You have Tesla, okay? Battery-powered vehicles and battery power, so renewable energy resources and cutting out fossil fuels. So eliminating pollution, which is ripping apart our ozone layer, okay? Which is heating the globe and causing global warming, all these different things. So the mission of Tesla is to save the world there, okay? X, formerly known as Twitter, saving free speech, saving freedom of speech. So saving our ability to speak and express, and also the free nature of information and not being censored, okay? So he's saving free speech. So all of his companies have these missions. So your mission will attract people who want to share in that mission, and it's going to repel people who don't. Okay? Also, priorities. Your priorities are going to attract people who share in those same priorities. If you prioritize your health and wellness, you will also attract people who prioritize their health and their wellness. If you prioritize your finances and your fiscal well-being, that will also attract people who prioritize their financial well-being. Age. Okay, you're going to attract people naturally in a similar age range. This will naturally change throughout your life because your age is naturally changing throughout your life. So at different stages of your life, you will attract people in different stages of their life that are relatively similar in age, but you can also attract people outside of your age range, of course, if they are pulled into some of these other areas. You have values, so your values attract people who resonate with those values. Your background, you attract people with a similar background. Your attitude attracts people with a similar positive attitude. So people with good attitudes don't like to be around people with negative attitudes, okay? And going back to your background, right? People that come from a certain city or certain area or certain economic background or cultural background naturally will gravitate towards one another. So these are key areas of attraction when it comes to the law of magnetism, and this is what you will attract. You will attract people like you And so if you don't like you and the people you're attracting, or let me back that up, if you don't like the people you're attracting, look in the mirror. Look at yourself. It starts here. And again, everything always circles back to self. It always circles back to accountability. It always circles back to truth and honesty in who you are and what you want and what you're after and how disciplined you are and the decisions you make, the choices you make, what you do today always impacts your future and where you're going, and the compounded effect of those decisions today and what you do will determine where you end up, how much of a leader you turn into, and what progression you make in your life, what progress you make in your life. So, that's why this stuff is all extremely important, and that's why I'm here teaching it, because again, it has had a major effect on my life and my ability to grow as a human being and my experiences of which I've lived through and which I've learned through. And now that I know what I know, granted, I don't know what I don't know because I don't know a lot of things, but based off of what I do know, I want to share this information with other people to help them and ultimately attract people like myself who have similar mission, similar priorities, similar values, and similar attitudes, as well as background and age. But I want to build a community of good-hearted people doing good things, entrepreneurs, building the world, solving problems, making everything a better place, and focusing on just positive energy and positive things. Okay, keep it moving. I get fired up on some of these things. So I want you to reflect in your organization. Okay, who are we? Ask yourself, who am I? It's one of the most difficult questions to ask. Who am I? You may not be happy with the answer that comes out. You may not be happy with who you are today, but guess what? You can change. So it is okay, but you need to reflect and you need to ask the difficult questions. Go and look in the mirror and ask yourself, who am I? And what is it that I want? What is it that I'm after? What changes do I need to make? And make those changes today and make that decision and go all in. Go all in, guys, on a better life. What is the DNA of your team from these questions, and who does your team attract? If you're not attracting the right type of people, you need to change the DNA of your team. All right, moving forward. We got some dolphins. What could this one be? This is the law of reproduction. We teach what we know, but we reproduce what we are. And apparently we're dolphins. So, the law of reproduction. We teach what we know, but we reproduce what we are. Cousin to the law of magnetism. So you see, the law of magnetism is basically the front end, but the law of reproduction is the back end. So magnetism pulls it in, but reproduction is what takes place out of the back end. And it takes a leader to raise up a leader. It takes a leader to know a leader, and it takes a leader to raise up a leader. So leaders reproduce other leaders by learning from leaders. How I became a leader was from learning from other leaders. I am a reproduction of other leaders and mentors that I have studied and learned from, because I reproduce what they do and what they say so that I can get what they have and so that I can be what they are. Okay? So a leadership survey that happened, this is very interesting. This survey asked people why they became leaders. Okay, 5% of people responded that they became leaders due to necessity. So some triggering event or situation or hardship or obstacle in life they were presented with, where they had no other choice. Like, it was like you have no other choice, and they had a necessity to become a leader. All right, and then you've got 10% that became a leader because they had leadership tendencies. So Again, leaning towards people that would naturally be more leadership leaning, this would be those people. So only just a small amount, but 85% of people responded that they became a leader because another leader showed them how to be a leader, which means more times than not, 85% of the time, leaders are reproduced strictly from other leaders. Okay, where 10% are kind of like naturally saying, oh, yeah, I was kind of already a leader, just naturally, small amount of people, but 5% out of necessity, 85% because another leader showed them how to be a leader. All right, moving forward. The law of reproduction states that why don't some leaders reproduce? Okay, why don't some leaders reproduce? What are some things that can be avoided as a leader? Because not all leaders are necessarily good leaders. There are such things as bad leaders, but these are the reasons why leaders would choose not to reproduce other leaders. Sometimes it's based off of insecurity. Okay, insecure leaders don't empower others out of fear of losing power or control. So they don't want other people to learn to lead because they want to hold on and feel like, oh man, I'm going to lose control or I'm going to lose power. Other leaders they love their ego being stroked from their followers, and they prefer that over empowering new leaders. So they want to be the best. They want to be held in high regard, and they want to keep people down and suppress them so that they can pray to them and worship them and make them feel all good in their ego. Okay? Not good. Avoid these things. It is a lot easier to lead followers. Um, Leaders do find it easier to lead followers than just developing new leaders, as followers just obey. But leaders, they ask questions. They are more challenging. They will naturally challenge you. It'll help you grow by developing leaders. But a lot of people that choose not to is because they only want followers that just follow and do what they say they want them to do. Also, many leaders fail to recognize the massive compound effect of actually developing new leaders. So they don't recognize the value in it. And then competition, not collaboration. So leadership has often been viewed competitively rather than collaboratively between leaders. So a lot of times leaders are picking competition over collaboration. So they don't want to raise people up and collaborate with them. They just want to compete because of scarcity. So these are all things that you want to avoid as far as the law of reproduction goes. Now, on to one of my favorite laws. This is the law of the Big Mo. And this states that momentum is a leader's best friend. Momentum, like this massive, massive, massive wave with gravitational pull momentum. Okay, the law of the Big Mo, momentum is a leader's best friend. So momentum is the great exaggerator. The great exaggerator, which means it makes leaders actually look a lot better than they are. Sometimes you have leaders leading an organization under massive momentum, and it just makes the leader look really good, even if the leader is not necessarily that great. But the momentum is the great exaggerator. And it makes followers perform better than they are because people get so pumped up on momentum and they just perform better. But no momentum actually works counter. So what you want to do is you want to be a train. Okay, because a train with momentum can literally smash through a 5-foot steel reinforced concrete wall and keep going. But a train that is motionless cannot get started with even a 1-inch thick concrete block in its way. So that should tell you something in terms of, like, from an energy standpoint, just how powerful momentum is when it's going in your direction. So what you constantly want to work on is momentum. That's where leaders focus. Leaders focus on momentum. Managers work on problems. So spend your life working on problems or on creating momentum is basically how you can approach this. Me personally, I would rather focus on the momentum. We also want to be the thermostat, okay? Leaders are like thermostats, so that means we control the temperature. We could turn up the heat. Followers, they're like thermometers. They just record the temperature. But the leader, we control it. We control the temperature. Turn up the heat. Let's go. And then just get going and take action. Okay? Imperfect action is always better than perfect inaction. So you have to get up and get going. Don't focus on solving problems. Focus on gaining momentum, because the momentum will solve those problems, which are the concrete walls in your way. Okay? So how does this big mo actually get started? Well, consider sports and how momentum impacts performance. Understand its value, okay? In a sports, tournament, playoff game, whatever, like you have where you're losing momentum. Let's say, okay, let's do a football analogy, okay? Two teams going at it, and one team really starts to slip, and another team is like scoring like touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. They go up like 3 possessions in a row. What does the coach do? The coach calls a timeout, right, to kill the momentum. Or if they're hitting like 3, 4, 5 passes in a row, they're marching down the field straight into the red zone. You're gonna call a timeout to try and disrupt that momentum. And then sometimes you'll even see where like the momentum shifts, right? Like in the second half, a whole new team comes out and now they've got momentum. So now they just start coming back, and the momentum's in their favor. So that's the value of momentum. It's a huge, huge influencer on anything you're doing and where you're going, especially any organization that you're leading. You want to get Big Mo on your side. So you want to identify motivating factors. So you want to ask your team, what motivates and excites your team? What motivates? Like, ask them, what motivates you guys, and what will excite you, and do that. And then remove demotivators. Ask your team what demotivates them and remove those factors, right? Common sense. And then what we want to do is we want to schedule celebration and then give new direction. So as we're hitting momentum and as we're winning, we're going to schedule a time to celebrate the wins. But then while we're celebrating the wins, we're going to give direction for the future to the next thing. The next thing. It never stops. There's never that destination. We're consistently going. And then we're going to recognize the progress makers. We're going to give credit and highlight team members who move things forward. Recognition is key in momentum. Recognition is key in your team. So in your company, in your business, in your life, in your organization, in your club, and wherever you're at, give recognition to the action takers. Give recognition to people that are moving the needle and getting the shit done. And then practice character leadership. So lead with enthusiasm, lead with positivity, even in tough times, to keep the momentum going in your favor. And this is how you get the Big Mo started. And so you can get some of this. Boom. Look at that. That, my friends, is the Big Mo. Be the train. All right? Be the train. Next up, we have the law of explosive growth, which this states that leaders who develop leaders multiply. This is how we get explosive growth. Imagine combining momentum with explosive growth. This is how you get it. So leaders who develop leaders multiply. There are 9 key differences. Okay? 9 key differences. You have desire, focus, priorities, abilities, attitude, time, expectations, leadership, and impact. Followers' math is addition, but leaders' math is multiplication. So let's break those down. Okay, desire. Leaders who develop followers, they need to be needed. But leaders who develop leaders want to be succeeded. Focus. Leaders who develop followers focus on the weaknesses of people, where leaders who develop leaders focus on the strengths of people. Priorities. Leaders who develop followers, they devote their attention to the bottom 20%, where leaders who develop leaders devote their attention to the top 20%. Remember, followers' math is addition. Leaders' math is multiplication. Abilities. Leaders who develop followers are good leaders, but leaders who develop leaders are great leaders. Think back to the law of magnetism and the law of respect. What number are you as a leader? Who do you attract? Attitude. Leaders who develop followers lift up themselves. Leaders who develop leaders lift others up. Time. Leaders who develop followers spend time with other people, but leaders who develop leaders invest time with other people. Expectations. Leaders who develop followers ask for little commitment, but leaders who develop leaders ask for much commitment. Leadership. Leaders who develop followers lead everyone the same, but leaders who develop leaders, they lead everyone differently. Impact. Leaders who develop followers lead for this generation, but leaders who develop leaders lead for the next generation, which is legacy. Legacy. Okay? Legacy. Which leads me here to the law of legacy and these cool whales here in this cool shot. Man, what a cool shot of these whales. Side note. But a leader's lasting legacy is measured by succession. Succession is one of the key responsibilities of leadership. A leader's lasting value is measured by succession. So achievement, it comes when someone is able to do great things for themselves. But success comes when someone empowers followers to do great things with them. Significance comes when someone develops great leaders to do things for them. But legacy, my friends, comes when someone raises the organization to do great things without them, which makes the law of legacy the law of succession. You want to perfect the handoff as a leader. That's how you create a legacy. That's how you have other leaders succeed you and achieve more than you and carry the baton. The best coaches spend the most time teaching how to hand off the baton. In a relay race, that is the most critical moment. It is where the most time is lost, is on the baton handoff. So as a leader, you need to perfect the handoff. Who's going to succeed you? Who's taking over? Who is the next of kin? You got to prime them, and they got to be better than you. You want to be a student of these laws, guys. Every single day, learn to lead better. Talk to leaders. Learn from leaders. Become a leader. Commit to adding value to people. Commit to these laws if you're committed to handing off the baton in your life. And if you're committed to a better future and leaving behind a better world for the next generation, but also a trickle effect that continues on generation after generation, where each generation things get better and things improve. So ask yourself, what am I living for? What am I doing this for? What's the return? We add value to lives, organizations, communities, and families. That, my friends, is a good bottom line. That is worth you learning leadership and you duplicating leadership. So now, it's time for you to build your legacy with these leadership laws. Build a legacy, learn these laws, know these laws, embrace these laws, develop in these laws. Get yourself better. It's worth it. It is worth it. And I will leave you there with the conclusion of part one, and I will be releasing part two of the leadership training series very soon. My name is Mike Sancho, and I thank you for sticking here with me for this training, and I look forward to seeing you as a leader in your life.